Ready. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Josh Fryday. I'm the director of the Governor's Office of Service and Community Engagement, and today is a very special day, and this is a very special place that we all gather. So thank you all for being here today. Today we announce the recruitment of the 2026-2027 California Service Corps, and we do it at this very special place, Community Shop Class, a place that is very special to my family personally. It's very special to Oak Park and the Sacramento community, and it's very special to the state of California because it represents what is possible when we invest in new and creative ways to bring people together in a positive way. And this is a place where people of all backgrounds, of all learning abilities, of all ages, come together to build, to create, to learn from each other. And it was with that spirit that 8 years and a few less gray hairs ago, then Governor, candidate Newsom, then candidate for governor Gavin Newsom announced a bold vision, a bold plan. A plan to try to create a world and a state, California, that was a little less polarized, a little less divided, a little less isolated. That was more compassionate, that was more connected. And in that plan that he announced 8 years ago, at the heart of that plan, of that vision, was service. And concretely, specifically, 10,000 paid service positions. Since then, since he was elected, he has created College Corps, a program that is now providing debt-free pathways to thousands of students across the state of California on 50 campuses, and is now a model for other states like New York and Minnesota. We're going to hear from a College Corps alum today. He created the very first statewide Climate Action Corps, which is now a model for 12 other states and was the model for the American Climate Corps, created by President Joe Biden. He expanded at a time when President Trump was seeking to cut AmeriCorps. Governor Newsom in the state of California expanded AmeriCorps to provide more scholarship opportunities for young people and more opportunities for people to work in disaster-related efforts such as the LA fires after the Paradise Fire. And he created the Youth Service Corps program, which several mayors up and down the state of California have referred to as one of their most important crime and homeless prevention programs. All together, and the reason that we are here together today to announce this recruitment effort is the state of California is now recruiting for over 10,000 young people to serve in their communities, to get paid, to get a chance to launch their career by giving back and making a difference. And so for anyone who wants to serve, wants to get paid to create change in their community, they can go to CAServiceCorps.com today. Find an opportunity for you. And here's the message from the state of California, and it's quite simple, and it's quite clear, and it's quite powerful. We need you. To every young person out there, you matter. And if you know exactly what you want to do in life and you're on that path and you're going to be a lawyer and a doctor and a business leader, we need you to serve today. And if you do not know your path, if you do not know but are seeking your purpose, we need you. We need you to serve, and we've created an opportunity for you to contribute in your community right now, and you matter. And that is the message of today. And I'll leave you with this, because for every young person across the state of California, we hope you walk away with the same inspiration that many of the young people behind me that you're going to hear from today have, which is the inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi, who said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce someone who represents this district of Community Shop Class, a champion for young people, a champion for opportunity, your assembly person, Assemblywoman Nguyen.
Thank you, Josh. That was amazing. I will say, as somebody who worked and spent over a decade with young people, this is it right here. This is what sets them up for success. This is investing in young people when nobody did, when the President of the United States decided not to do it. Not just young people, but young people from unserved, underserved, low-income communities. Because as someone who grew up not too far away from here, as someone who grew up on every single public assistance program you can think of, as someone who spoke English as a second language, it wasn't until somebody invested in communities like me that I had the opportunity to become a state assembly member. But I also leave you with this, that our governor came up with this program just 8 years ago, and that we need much, much more programming like this, not just here in California, but up and around all of the states in the area, because we need to be that example, that when you invest in young people become our leaders, and giving them that opportunity to serve, learning how to serve the community, they come back twofold, and they invest in the community as well too. It's not just an opportunity to serve, but they also get paid. 10,000 positions up and down California. 10,000 young individuals will have an opportunity to kickstart a career opportunity. 10,000 young individuals will be able to give back to their community while also being paid. And that, everybody, is how you invest in young people. That is how you invest in the future. And I am so proud to be able to introduce this next person, who is a Sac State Hornet, because as a Hornet myself, this is an opportunity in which we get to hear from somebody locally here who's made a difference, who's making a difference, and who can speak so much about how much this means to everybody. So please give it up for Sacramento State College Corps, Drew Daly.
Yeah, Drew. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here. As you know, I'm Drew Daly, and I've been a part of College Corps for 3 years now. And in those 3 years, I can honestly say it has shaped the college experience in ways I had never expected. When I first joined, I didn't fully know what direction I wanted to take professionally. My major didn't perfectly align with my service placement, but the program still opened doors that changed everything for me. Through College Corps, I built real connections with local organizations, community leaders, and other students that were dedicated to make a positive impact in their community and committed to service like I am. I also had the opportunity to work alongside people from all walks of life. Families, elders, youth, community members from cultures and backgrounds completely different from my own. That exposure, it pushed me to grow even more. It taught me cultural humility, how to adapt my communication style, and how to build trust with people whose lived experiences looked nothing like mine. Those are skills you can't learn from a textbook, but they shape the way I show up in every professional space I'm in today. Those relationships helped me grow my professionalism, career development, and my understanding of what it means to show up for a community. And those connections didn't just stay in the classroom. They led directly to job opportunities. In fact, these skills and experience I gained through College Corps helped me secure a job at a local nonprofit, Alchemist CDC, where I'm able to contribute to positive change within our communities, as well as my current role at the Care Center at Sac State, where I now work alongside psychologists and professionals in fields that align with my long-term goals with psychology. This program didn't just give me a stipend or a scholarship. It gave me experience that employers actually value. It taught me how to communicate with diverse populations, manage my time and caseloads, and collaborate across departments and navigate real-world challenges that you simply can't get or learn from a textbook. It helped me build a reputation, a network, and a sense of purpose that will follow me long after graduation throughout my lifetime. So when I say that this program is just a huge opportunity in what it's done for me and what it can do for other students as well, I truly mean it. College Corps is more than a paid partnership or internship. It's a stepping stone. For me, it was a launch pad. And for students who are still figuring out their path, similar to how I was when I initially joined, it can be the opportunity to help everything just click together and find out what your passion is and what you like to do. So if this speaks to you, don't wait, don't hesitate. Get out there and apply. And I'll end that with Stingers Up from Sac State. I gotta put that in there. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Atlas.
Hi everyone, my name is Atlas Jackman and I work with Youth Service Corps. My host site is Sierra Service Project, and I've worked with Youth Service Corps for the past 2.5 years. It's been an incredibly for me. I had moved to Sacramento not really knowing anyone, and as soon as I started the program, I had an immediate built-in community, not only with my fellows, but also all of the community partners that we work with directly. There's so many resources that everyone is so happy to share with each other. It's like seeing sort of the utopia that people talk about all the time being created in real time. We are in solidarity with each other, we're doing mutual aid, we're helping each other however we can, and it just feels so powerful to be a part of that every single day. So I think that the two main things that I really appreciate about working with Youth Service Corps is the community empowerment and also the empowerment of the self through community empowerment. So we're uplifting each other, and as we're all rising up, we're rising up together. No one is getting left behind. So as we're sharing those resources, we're checking in with each other. Folks might come into work some days not feeling their best, and people are immediately reaching out, like, what's going on? How can we help you? How can we support you? What do you need? It just feels so loving. I feel so embraced by all of the people that I work with at my host site, and I'm also so grateful to all of the community partners. And like I mentioned, I had just moved to Sacramento when I started working with Youth Service Corps, but I also became so much more familiar with the city through all of the community partners we're working at. The program I do at Sierra Service Project is urban agriculture and food sovereignty, so we're working directly in community gardens. We're also teaching nutrition education and life skills like cooking to people in under-resourced neighborhoods. So we're really having a direct impact. We're breaking bread together, we're growing the food together from the seed all the way to harvest, and then even cooking, we're doing cooking demonstrations. So it just feels like we're really building the community that we talk about wanting. And it's been a really powerful, impactful experience for me, and I'm so grateful for it. And I would highly recommend anyone who feels like they're not connected with their community, anyone that feels like they want to meet more people, they want to do more things, have more experiences, I would highly recommend that they check out Youth Service Corps. So with that, I will introduce Danny from AmeriCorps.
Hello everyone, I'm Danny Salazar, and I work with City of Sacramento in AmeriCorps program, and this is my second year of service. I was placed at Father Keith Buchanan Elementary my first year, and in my first year I was a student success coach, so I was working in a classroom, I was partnered with the teacher, and now I got the honor to come back as a second year, and now I'm a team leader, so it's been really powerful, really amazing. Growing up, I never really saw myself as a leader, but being a part of City Year, they really pour into you. They not only see you as like a learner, but a leader, not only for your school community, but also, within the City Year, like Sacramento branch. And I chose to serve because growing up, my family benefited from community services. I grew up low income, single mother, so these types of things, having people who really want to pour into the community and students and stuff really does make a difference and makes a change. And I've seen firsthand, the positive impact that programs like City Year have made in schools and in the lives of students. I've connected with so many of my students. I've gotten to see them grow, and I've grown along with them. City Year, not only, they give us the tools to not only grow as learners, but as leaders. And I've built some really amazing relationships in my time with City Year. And I would definitely recommend for anyone who maybe is wondering, what it's like to work in a classroom, maybe they want to go into education, or maybe they just want to, serve their community. I would definitely recommend. And, City Year is amazing, so I'm really grateful for my experience, and I'm proud to serve, so thank you. And I'd like to introduce Sharon.
Hello, my name is Sharon Jackson. So early in life, my opinion of community was just no more than a few residential houses and a couple parks or two and a couple of my friends. But California Climate Action Corps has actually taught me the meaning of community. CCAC has built a group of like-minded individuals who wants to leave our planet in a better position that we inherited it in. One thing I can't emphasize enough is how much our leaders are involved with the program, how much they care, how much I receive a sense of family when I talk about and talk to and converse with our fellows and our leadership. When I first met Director Fryday, we exchanged phone numbers, and he was like, hey, yeah, reach out to me if you need any help. So I was like, you know what, I might need some help. Hey, Mr. Fryday, can you help me with this? And yeah, Sharon, go over here. Oh, man, he responded to my text, right? So let me try it again. Hey, I need help with this. And he responded again. So I was like, that's really cool. So let's try it out. Hey, Mr. Fryday, lunch on you, Morton Steakhouse, right? No response, but it's okay. Yeah, I guess 2 out of 3 works for me. That was fine. But yeah, so with that being said, like on our MLK Day event we had, I had a chance to meet one of our supervisors, regional supervisors, Sierra, and her mother. And before the end of the day, she was calling me her son, so that was real big to me. So, hi, Mom. So CCAC has given me the satisfaction and sense of family and sense of measurable impact since joining the Edible Schoolyard, which is in Stockton, which is my host site. I've been a part of distributing over 13,243 pounds of fresh produce to the community, and that's big. When I see this number, I was like, it was really astonishing to me when I was reading Matrix. Over 3,700 pounds of food waste diverted, over 2,100 families engaged. So this is what makes the fellowship rewarding for me. This is what gives me all of the energy that I have every morning, because when I wake up in the morning, I have that feel-good sensation of going to work, of community help, of giving back. So that's what it was for me, and that's what it makes it all worth it for me. So I just want to thank all my fellows, thank our leadership, and thanks for the support and the opportunity to help build a more resilient California. And I'm just going to quit there because we have a very special person after me. So let me introduce our Governor of California, Mr. Gavin Newsom.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you. By the way, thank to our host. Where are you? This place is next level, man. This is one of the most interesting places I've ever been in. ADHD Avenue. I mean, everything about this is, I feel like I'm home. Dyslexics that are surrounded by, these special folks, particularly the young folks there. So I'm grateful. I'm also weird. Sharon, forgive me. This is embarrassing. You can turn all that off. Just because all the noise, that we just need to turn off. And listen to this. This is it, man. This is it. You want to fix all this stuff? This is it. Listen to these guys. We're all just sitting there yelling and screaming at each other. Everybody's getting each other's throats and trying to tear everybody down. And, how are we going to get out of this? This is it. You heard these guys. Programs like this, community leaders like this. And it's like, why are we so stupid? Why can't we just get this? It's so obvious what we need to do. And so I'm just deeply proud of this and deeply proud of Josh and what he was able to put together. It's true, man. I remember that 8 years ago. I still have in my file the piece of paper where we made a pledge and we wrote that down together. And I was like, I don't know, Josh. I'm not sure we can pull this thing off. And the fact that you exceeded that is extraordinary. The fact that we seeded other programs across this country is extraordinary. The fact that we've been persistent, good budgets, bad budgets, and we're on the other side of all of that. And so I'm proud of the program, and I'm proud of all you guys for being part of it and inspiring. Look at me, I'm like a kid now, and inspiring me, seriously, because it's your resilience. You talk about, I love it, service, leadership, this notion of leadership. So I got nothing more to say. I had a nice speech prepared, but I wasn't prepared for how deeply grateful I am to be on this journey with all of you guys. and to be part of this. And I pray that, whoever comes next, then, the legislature, folks like you, sort of hold the line and focus on what works, meaning, mission, purpose, developing a sense of community, developing a next generation of leaders to believe, to move beyond. Sharon, I love that. Just, couple, you talk about a few buildings, man, and that was your sense of community, and then starts to open up. I don't know why that touched me so much, man, but that's what it's about. Shared experiences, shared reality. We all rise and fall together. So thank you all. With that, happy to answer any questions. Hopefully we can edit this and just cut me out of the tape.
You're not the first person to crash out.
No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, maybe it's the combo, right? It's just, this place speaks to me in different ways. Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate the deference, man.
Can you talk a little bit more about what the it is that you were just talking about?
It's a spirit. It's the spirit of community. It's this notion. We were just at an event, and this also shapes how I'm feeling, with Richard Reeves and members of the legislature talking about men and boys and the crisis of men and boys, and an executive order that we advanced, and we were focusing on our career master plan and trying to just connect all these disparate dots and talking about how people are struggling, how they're suffering, and how real it is, and how exhausting it is, and this is the antidote to that. And I just, every time I'm connected to what Josh and his team are doing and what you're all doing every single day, I feel like I'm just inadequate to the task, that I haven't done enough to talk about this and not talk about all this other noise. It's noise. 9 out of 10 of the things we talk about is noise. It just goes like that. This is the meaning. This is the substance. This is the solution. This is the why. This is the unifier. This is getting rid of all that and opening up this and just, being. So, and doing, So that's why. And, I'm sorry to feel this way. I know it's supposed to, suit and tie and, prepare my remarks. But I feel it. I feel it. And feelings matter, and I think a lot of us are feeling a lot of anxiety and stress. And so this sort of, for me, just alleviates a lot of that and gives me a real sense of optimism and mission as I finish out my term.
Governor, can you talk about the verdict in the Meta trial? Do you feel like this is tech's big tobacco moment?
Yeah, I think we have to renegotiate our contract with big tech, and we are. And now they're compelled to. I signed a number of bills that they litigated as it relates to age-appropriate design. A lot of the issues that they're being litigated against, they're litigating against our strategies to address. And maybe they'll take a second look at that. Maybe they'll reconsider their own participation in the world that they've created. It's a moment of some deep accountability and I hope reflection on their part. And, the external realities of how, people are feeling and how stressed and isolated. And, I was talking a moment ago, separate topic, we go online, to find answers and solutions. But, everything going online is finding you, these algorithms. And how these algorithms are shaping opinions and beliefs and are aiding and advancing so much of our anxiety and stress, coloring things in. And so I hope it's, I hope it's a moment of reckoning. And this is someone who wants to be supportive of a path, but a path that includes our kids and not just our quarterly profits. And so two decisions, two big tectonic decisions that will have profound impact. 2,000 folks waiting in federal court, 3,000 state courts, AGs, school boards. This is a moment of reckoning.
Governor, speaking of contracts, tonight we're working on an update on the Capital Annex project, and I'd just like to get your reaction to just some movement here. lawmakers came back and said that they won't give those because they believe it's in the public's best interest that those records remain secret, and they'll give them to me once the project is complete in September of 2027. That's when you'll be a regular taxpayer and out of office. Do you think the public should have to wait that long?
No. And I think I've said that to you before, and so thank you for that update. I was not aware of that. So no. It's taxpayer dollars need to be transparent, period, full stop, not complicated. So, unless there's some security consideration, there's always exceptions. But
I'm just asking for the cost.
yeah, I don't think that would fall into that category. So,
Is this embarrassing? I mean, just you didn't approve the project, you'll never use it. This is just
no, I get it. No, but it's look, as a taxpayer, I'm taxpayer and governor. And I'm reasonably, good taxpayer. So no, I think it's not. You're hardly. This is hardly an argumentative frame, and it's the least I think you deserve. So let me, as I said last time, and then I was told there was progress on this. Let me see what I can do to help influence this, because I cannot, in good conscience, support that decision on the basis of the facts you just laid out.
Is there funding related specific speeds of regulation in terms of social media and children that you're hoping to get through the line before your term?
Well, Net Choice is, I think what they've litigated in 3 or 4 critical pieces of legislation I've had the privilege of signing. A couple of Nancy Skinner bills, Buffy Wick's bill, that were nation-leading bills. And, I've reached out to the leadership, the CEOs of these companies. I told them it's a big mistake that they're making. These are reasonable bills. These are rational bills. And they've litigated. And then they got hit on the other side. That was inevitable. And now juries are going to, hold them to a kind of accountability that is long overdue. And, this is why we led the nation on safety regulations on AI. We're going to lean in. We're going to continue to lean in. So, I think where they need to start is what we've already done, and back off of that. And they may have no choice now, as it relates to their litigation exposure, not just the damages, the potential punitive damages, as it relates to thousands and thousands of these lawsuits that are going to descend upon them. So I hope they'll reconsider that. And that was not done as any individual. It was done on that's a Net Choice. It's their larger lobbying organization that's part of that. And it's just a big mistake. We were close to getting them to back off, and one company, I won't mention, beginning of the alphabet, decided against it. And that was a big mistake.
How have your views kind of shifted, being both a parent and also having been mayor of San Francisco when these companies were started to now?
Well, I wrote a book a decade ago, and I was, it was the Arab Spring. These were platforms, and it was about co-creation. I mean, we had a sense of optimism back then. I think it was broadly, almost universally shared. But, as we were promoting and accelerating the technology, we didn't steer it. We've got to steer it. It's not just about guardrails. It's about steering things. And we can't make that mistake with AI. And that's why, again, this state's leading. We're not done in that space. But why it was very important, and it's important to remind folks that this state led the nation with SB 53 as it relates to those first safety guardrails, as it relates to large language models and frontier models. New York State has adopted that framework. Other states are looking at it. You heard today in the United States, the president announcing a new advisory body made up of many of the CEOs of these companies, and David Sachs, who has been active in trying to stop states from regulating. Many of these folks have a let it rip policy. And that's what has just been litigated in the court. Not a public opinion. We've been there for years, but now the court of law with the decision that was made in New Mexico and the decision here in Southern California. And it's, as I say, a moment of reckoning for these social media companies. But it's also a moment of responsibility for all of us as it relates to the future of AI, to not make the mistakes we made with social media.
Related questions. First on Prop 36, just to continue demand
commitment to the allocation of the additional $500 million they're asking for, the $1 billion per year commitment that they have asked of you and Mr. Governor as well?
So we provided hundreds of millions of dollars for Prop 36. So those are the facts. There was just a survey done by the courts. It's worth reading. They should actually read it, some of the advocates, that highlighted the success, the failure of Prop 36. And overwhelmingly, no one was talking about the need for more resources as it relates to the treatment component. There were 3 of the close to 50 jurisdictions that referenced some difficulty accessing some of those treatment slots, but the vast majority did not cite that as an issue. So with respect, hundreds of millions of dollars, an unprecedented investment in mental health, homelessness, and housing that has no comparable, nothing, they've never had this kind of investment that provides the kind of resources that is needed to implement component parts of that initiative. As it relates to the request, I cannot in good conscience provide any additional resources or argue for them with the legislature. If you have cities like LA that are violating state law, SB 79, I mean, you don't build, we're not going to fund, period. We had to file 15 lawsuits today as it relates to our notices of violation under the housing element, HCD, our housing department, because people are out of their housing compliant. Enough. So we want partners. I don't want to be a sparring partner, but that's not how it's going to work with me, at least. We'll see. You reference the next governor. No one can oblige that person to do something, but I'm just not going to participate in that anymore. And I've been pretty clear about that. Put a website together, accountability.ca.gov, accountability.ca.gov, and we all need to be held to account. But when one of those largest cities in the state is just saying no to implementing a housing policy to address the crisis of affordability and the byproduct, homelessness, and then is asking for more money, it doesn't work for me anymore.
Many of us behind you, Governor, work in urban greening and trying to transform food deserts into food hubs. Our urban agriculture program is developing cookbooks. What's a meal that's important to you that you would like to see included in our community source cookbook?
Well, this brings me back to my mayor's days when I converted the front of Civic Center into a vegetable garden and got mocked by folks until Michelle Obama did the same thing when she was First Lady in front of the White House, and everyone thought I was a visionary after being mocked. It was what we referred to as a victory garden. So I've always loved the urban greening, urban gardens, and we actually harvested those gardens for the homeless shelters. I was very involved, so I got involved in the slow foods movement and a lot of regenerative ag work, partnerships with UC Davis as mayor, and then, of course, we've taken to a whole new level at the state of California. So I'm deeply steeped in the ways of the work they're advancing and the work they're doing. As it relates to a meal, brother, I don't have any good one in mind at the moment because I'm invariably going to, if it includes avocado, I'm in. Let's just leave it at that. I could just live on avocado, the state's fruit, and I want to remind you my great contribution. For those of you who may feel like I've never accomplished a damn thing, my worst critics, I'll remind you, as lieutenant governor, acting governor at the time, I, through a proclamation, announced that the state fruit is an avocado. So I just want to say I'm not in peril of being judged not to have lived, at least on Wikipedia. You can look that up.
One more quick one about hospice fraud. Yesterday, your office sent out a press release about it. The state health department licenses, inspects, and investigates hospice fraud. Critics say your news release yesterday misled voters by suggesting hospice oversight is solely a federal responsibility. Any reaction to that?
Well, we've eliminated over 280 licenses. We've been on this since late 2021. We put a moratorium on new licenses. We've been very aggressive as it relates to going after the fraud and abuse. What's happening here is political. We are happy and enthusiastic to partner with anyone to go after fraud and abuse. And that's precisely what we've been doing in this space for years and years and years. And I should point out, there'll be a significant announcement on this in a matter of weeks to only reinforce the framework of accountability in this space. But it takes, again, in the spirit of our times, a partner, not a sparring partner, a working partner. And that's not what the administration is advancing, I assure you. I've been doing this long enough. I know the difference between, well, let's just establish that the state of California takes fraud and have for years and years, and it was established and reestablished in that release yesterday. And to the extent the federal government wants to be sincere in their efforts, they also need to be held to account as well for cutting oversight programs. The federal government, the Trump administration, cutting oversight programs in this space. They need to be accountable for that. Not interested in the politics, interested in solving the problem. And the problem is real all across the United States of America, and that's why in 2021 we advanced very aggressive efforts to address it years before Donald Trump took the oath of office for the second time. Thank you.